Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. Today we have a story that is guaranteed to give you chills. This is the tale of Mrs. Adele Winchester in the haunting of St. Mary's Hospital. Get ready to be transported to a world of eerie events, strange occurrences, and unexplainable experiences, all taking place within the walls of a seemingly ordinary hospital. This is a story of fear, mystery, and the power of the unseen forces that surround us. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a truly spine-tingling experience. Let's dive into the story of Mrs. Adele Winchester and the demon Tiberius. As a forensic nurse at St. Mary's Hospital, I had seen many strange and unusual cases come through the lockup unit. But none quite as eerie and unsettling as the case of Mrs. Adele Winchester. Mrs. Winchester was a frail and elderly woman who was brought into the unit for evaluation after a series of bizarre outbursts. Her family had reported that she was suffering from hallucinations, and that she was convinced that she was being tormented by a demon she called Tiberius. From the moment she arrived on the unit, strange things began to happen. My colleagues and I would enter her room to perform routine checks, only to find her moments later, writhing in pain and screaming in terror. Her face would be bruised, her eyes blackened, and her body covered in strange markings. Despite the fact that she was physically restrained, these marks would mysteriously appear out of nowhere. My colleagues and I were skeptical, believing that Mrs. Winchester was simply self-harming. But there was no explanation for how these marks were appearing. The room was secured and monitored at all times, and there was no way that anyone else could have entered to harm her. And yet, every time we asked her about the bruises, she would simply whisper, "It was Tiberius." The staff were on edge, and things only got worse when Mrs. Winchester was finally discharged from the unit. Despite our best efforts, we continued to experience strange and eerie events in that room. Lights would flicker on and off, objects would move of their own accord, and rapid response codes would be called with startling frequency. One particularly terrifying night, a security guard reported that he had seen ghostly figures moving through the room. He was convinced that the room was haunted, and that Tiberius was still tormenting Mrs. Winchester, even from beyond the grave. To this day, the lockup unit at St. Mary's Hospital is shrouded in mystery and fear. And the story of Mrs. Adele Winchester and the demon Tiberius has become a legend amongst the staff, a chilling reminder of the power of the unseen forces that surround us.